Violent crimes are on the rise in Chicago. New numbers showing that the month of May was the most violent in years. So there were 66 murders, 318 shootings, 397 total victims. The murder rate is up more than 40% over this time last year. FBI Director James Comey says more should be worried about the spike in murders.
The people dying are almost entirely black and Latino men, and we can't drive around that problem. It's being reported on at local levels, but in my view, it's not getting the attention at the national level it deserves. I don't know what the answer is, but holy cow, do we have a problem.
Sheriff David Clark of Milwaukee County is with me now. Good to see you, Sheriff. Why is the violence getting worse? We mentioned Chicago. Chicago is not alone. I'm going to come back to that in a minute. But just in that city, 7 were killed this weekend, 32 wounded. What is happening?
Well, the reason it's happening is because Mayor Rahm Emanuel can't get his arms around this thing. He is showing himself to be totally incompetent to get this violence under control. Look, the social order in several neighborhoods in the city of Chicago has totally collapsed. We're talking the west side, the northwest side, and the south side. These figures are staggering. 66 people murdered in May alone, 400 people shot. June starts out no better. But there seems to be no sense of urgency. And James Comey, Director Comey, is right. How many more black people have to be shot and killed before somebody in the state of Illinois and the city of Chicago realizes that they have a crisis on their hands? Deirdre, I want to know why a state of emergency has not been declared by Governor Bruce Rauner. I want to know why Rahm Emanuel hasn't imposed a curfew, not in the entire area of Chicago, in the 3 neighborhoods I identified, a 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew. Why those hours? First, you have to stop the nighttime violence, and then once you get that under control, you can spread that thing out. Nothing moves except for vital services and maybe people coming to and from work in those neighborhoods. But short of the governor stepping in, because then state resources can be applied. Rahm Emanuel has not hired new cops. He's trying to do this on overtime. He's burning these cops out. I would call, if I'm the superintendent, I would call Loretta Lynch, the attorney general, and say, get these civil rights attorneys out of here who are investigating the cops and send me some criminal prosecutors so we can start applying criminal statutes to these gangs and all this drug dealing. That is organized crime. You can use the RICO statutes. You can use other organized crimes, federal statutes, to charge these gang members and get them off the street for a long period of time.
So, Sheriff, why do you think no one is making that call, or why do you think either Mayor Emanuel or the governor are not listening to that good advice?
Well, first of all, the Chicago Police Department, Chicago's finest, are totally demoralized under the lack of leadership of Rahm Emanuel. And they're afraid now that anything that they do, some slight transgression, because these jackbooted goons from the Civil Rights Division, these lawyers, are peering over their shoulder and just waiting to snag one of them from some minor transgression.
So you're saying they can't do their jobs. So that's why I said they need to get those people out of here and get some criminal prosecutors from the Attorney General, the Department of Justice in there to go after the crooks and leave the cops alone. They have this all backwards in the city of Chicago. The cops are now the bad guys and the criminals are now the victims. So until we see a sense of urgency by Rahm Emanuel, I put this all at his feet, all on his desk right now. It is his job to do something. I rarely hear from the guy on this stuff. I think this is the real reason why Barack and Michelle Obama aren't moving back to their adopted hometown of Chicago after his reign ends on January 20th, 2017. Because like I said, the social order has totally collapsed, and I don't blame them for not wanting to go back to Chicago. Sheriff, thank you as always. Want to see and hear some of the problems, the ways they can be addressed from people who are actually experts and on the ground. Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clark. Thank you, sir.